Hello everyone, welcome back in my class of CIS3146 Embedded System. We are in week number 2, and this is part 4 of C programming. And in this part, we are going to explore decision making statements. So what we will do, we will take a quick look of the aim and objectives of week 2 session. So here you can see the aim of week 2 is exploring C programming language, and in order to explore this, that is to achieve the aim, I have framed 7 objectives, and the objectives are enlisted here. So far we have completed objective number 1 to objective number 4. In this session, that is in part number 4 of week 2, we are going to explore this, and these two will discuss in the coming video lecture, in the coming parts. So we'll start the discussion on decision making statements, which is given in the next slide. So as far as decision making statement is given, what I want to cover, I will first write one simple program for adding two numbers. So in this C program, what I am going to do, I am including the standard library stdio.h. Then I am writing my main function for creating one module. So this is the module. In here, in this, I am declaring 3 variables of integer type A, B and C, and this is my first number, this is my second number, and I will add these two numbers, and after adding these two numbers I will get C. Then print F, enter two numbers, and then to accept the number from the keyboard, scanf %d, because the number is of integer type, %d, second B is also of integer type, %a, address of A, first number will go at the address of A, second number will go at the address of B, semicolon, and then C is equal to A plus B. So I am adding first number, I am adding second number with second number, and then print F C, and then lastly return 0, because this main is of integer type. The return type for the main is of integer type. So in this program has simple statements, and there is no condition specified in this program, and this program has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 lines. So all in all, in this program we have 10 different lines. So what will happen if you will execute this program? This program will get executed starting from line number 1 till line number 10 without any interruption. It means that this program is executing in a serial fashion. So if you have not specified any condition in the program, then your program will get executed in a serial fashion. But if you are going to include any specific condition in your program, then what will happen? You are going to use decision making statement, and decision will be made based on this specific condition. So what will happen, rather than executing the program in a serial fashion, your program will get executed according to this specific condition. That is, if this condition will true, then some statement will get executed. If this condition is not true, that is if the condition is false, then some other statement will get executed. So this is just an overview of decision making statement. Now we'll see some important points for decision making statements. So here you can see I have specified 2 points, number 1 and number 2. So I will first explain the second point. So in the absence of decision making statements, what will happen? A program executes in a serial fashion. Same thing I explained in my example of adding 2 number, because in that example I have not used any condition, I have not specified any decision making statement. So my program got executed in a serial fashion starting from line number 1 to line number 10 without any interruption. But if you are using decision making statements, so what will happen? You can alter the sequence of the execution of the program depending upon specific circumstances or condition. So you can specify some condition in order to alter the sequence of the statements for the execution of the program. Now, how you will do this? In order to alter the sequence of the statement in the program based on the condition, C programming supports decision making statements, which we will discuss in the next slide. So C programming decision making statements, C language supports decision control statements. So all in all, there are 4 different types of decision making statements given in C language. So the first one is the if statement. It is also referred as simple if statement. Second is if else statement, then if else if ladder statement, and the last one is known as switch case statements. So we will start the discussion of decision making statement in C with the if statements. So here I have given the syntax of using if statement. If you want to use if statement in your program, then using this syntax you can write if statement in the program. If you remember, in first part I said syntax are nothing but the grammar or the rule for writing the instruction in the program. So you can use this rule, that is this syntax of if statement, for writing simple statement, for using simple if statement in your program. I have given one example for simple if statement. So here in this example you can see the value of x is equal to 10 in line number 1. Then if condition is given, if this condition, what is the condition? Condition is x is greater than 10. So here x is equal to 10, so 10 is not greater than 10. So what will happen? If this condition is true, if this is true, then this statement will get executed. If this is not true, then this statement will not get executed. So what we are doing? We are altering the execution of the program based on this given condition. So simple if statement, why it is called a simple if statement? Because a simple if statement deals with the true statement only. So if this is true, then this will get executed. If it is false, then what will happen? It is not specified in the case of simple if statements. So in order to specify true and false both statements, we use the next decision making statement, which is known as if and else statements. The syntax for if else statement is given here. If this condition is true, then these statements will get executed. Otherwise, that is if this condition is not true, that is false, then control will move to the else part and the program will get executed. I have given one example here. So here you can see, if this is my condition, I am calling it C. If this condition C is true, then what will happen? If this is condition, this is true, then execute this. If condition C is false, then move to the else part and execute this statement. So this is about if and else statements, where if something is true, then execute this. If it is false, then this. The next decision making statement is nesting of if else statement. So what is nesting of if and else statement? Specifying condition within the if else statement. So here you can see this is the if condition. If this is true, then execute this, and this is again if else statement. So if this condition is true, I am specifying one more condition. If this is true, then execute this. If this is false, then execute this. And this whole is simple if statement. An example is specified here. If condition, this condition is this. If this is true, then execute this. Else, in else again I am specifying if statement, if condition. In if again if statement. This is one if else statement, if else statement, and this is simple if else statement. So here we have, this is one if else statement, this one and this one is another if else statement, and this one and this one is another if else statement. So all in all we have three if else statements. So what we are doing here, we are applying nesting of if else statements. The next if else statement is else if ladder. If this condition is true, then execute this. Else if condition is true, then execute this. Else if this condition is true, then execute this. If nothing is true, then false part, execute this. Example is given for else if ladder. If condition, that is this. If this is true, then execute this. If else if, that is this part. If this is true, then execute this statement part. Else if this is true, that is this part, then execute this statement. If nothing is true, this is not true, then it means that false. So execute else part. The next decision making statement is switch case statements. So here switch, and based on the switch we can specify various conditions. Switch case statements programmer use in menu based programming or system. So menu based programming or system means you can specify one, then do something, two, then do something, three, then do something. So you are giving choice to the user. So what user will do? User will select any of these conditions, and accordingly something will happen. Then we use to achieve this type of output, we use switch case statements. I have given one example. If number is 0, then execute this. If number is 1, then execute this. If number is 2, then execute this. If any other number, then do this. So what will happen? If user will enter 0, then that is case 0 is user is selecting case 0. So the message which will get printed on the output is you entered 0. If in the second run, if the user enters 1, then what will happen? User selected this case, so only this case will get executed. And in third run, if user is giving input 2, then user has selected this case, so this message will get printed, that is you entered 2. If user entered, let's say 10, so for 10 there is no case specified, then the default case will get executed. That's all in this session.